All right, so I have a very special guest with me today. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name's Kwani. I am the owner of Rezo Vending. I started it, I want to say October 2020. So we've been going about 6, 7 months now. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Did you know that you would enjoy it when you got started, or were you just kind of looking at it as another, just kind of work?
I didn't think it was going to be fun. I did see it as work. I initially began like researching passive income lanes, and I chose vending because I was watching like a bunch of YouTube channels about it and just got the idea like, hey, that doesn't look too hard. I think I could do that. Low risk, high reward. Okay,
Y-
I'm going to try
Yeah.
it.
So, vending, is this your first business? The first business that you've ever started?
So I have a nonprofit, but I would say this vending business is the first like for-profit business. So
Okay.
the mindset behind it all is definitely new. With my nonprofit, it's more so community based. It's more so just networking, getting people together, making a difference. But with vending, it's like no, everything we do, there is an in line. There's an in number we're going for.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And it's
yeah,
a numbers game too. The more you have out, the more, essentially the more money you can earn, right?
right. So you're constantly trying to hit those numbers or setting numbers that you want to target and accomplish. So definitely a different mindset.
You have mostly bulk machines, right? But you do have a couple full line machines, correct?
So I'm actually working on my first full line location. So
Okay.
when we started in October, we actually started by purchasing a route, and the route had 3 machines on it. So we got pretty lucky, and that was a great introduction for us as far as like actually operating locations and machines. And we just kept going on that pace, bulk route. So we're up to 15 locations, all bulk. We actually lost one yesterday, though. Sad face.
Bummer. Dang.
Yeah. So we're at 14 bulk locations now, and then we actually got lucky. And while we were looking to place a machine in a bulk location, they turned us down for putting a bulk machine. But the owner was like, "You can have that machine," and he points to a full line combo machine, and I'm like,
Oh,
"Uh, okay." you know, I kind of took it as a universal sign, like, "Hey, go ahead and get your feet wet with the full line."
so he had a machine on location, and then he just kind of handed the keys over to you, and then it was just yours from that point. You didn't have to remove the machine.
I did have to remove it. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
he was owning it and he was like done with operating it himself. And he's like, I just don't want it anymore.
And he
There
just
is
gave
a
it to you.
He just gave it to me. The
Wow,
catch
what a
of it
blessing.
all, it was a huge blessing, right? I wasn't expecting it. Like I said, it was like the first time I ever went into this shop, specifically with bulk on my mind. But the catch behind it all is the machines actually needed some work. So I actually just finished the work that they needed. But I would say the investment it took was way less than buying a machine new or refurbished. So it was a
Yeah.
great learning tool for me. Like I honestly got to like hands-on learn the mechanics and the parts, and it was just it's crazy how it all happened that way. This free machine that became a vending machine college for me. And so I recently went out and bought a Vendo 721. And so I'm just now looking for my first full line location with my soda machine and my snack machine.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So with 14 locations, are you concentrated in one small area, or like how far out are you from your area? Like where you live?
Yeah, I'm pretty spread out. Yeah,
Pretty spread out.
pretty spread out. I would say the furthest location from my house is like 35 minutes, and
Okay.
then the closest is like 5. So it
Okay.
varies. Yeah.
So do you run your whole route like one? Do you check like monthly or bi-monthly, and do you check all of them on like one day, or how do you go about collecting from 14 locations?
So for me, when I was first starting out, I was pretty green behind the ears, and I would had all this ambition and energy to do all in the same day. And I quickly learned, like, dude, that's time wise, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm like driving around with like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm all over the place, having to fill up gas more than once. So I've actually learned to chop it up. So now I actually service my locations on a span of 2 days, and then I do them every 5 to 6 weeks. I try to stretch it out to that 6 week. and just split it up between 2 different days.
Okay. And so 2 days every month or so to run all 14 locations.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say
Uh,
so.
That's cool. So what is your best seller? Do you do gumballs or do you do like I know Reese's Pieces I've heard are really good in bulk machines. And I have a couple bulk machines, but I just do the standard Skittles and peanut M&Ms. But I'm curious to know like what your like best seller is for your machines.
Yeah, surprisingly, I just started selling Reese's in some spots, and it is a really good seller. That's actually true for me. Um, I do gumballs. The goal actually is to, as I obtain more full line locations, to phase out my bulk locations to just gumball machines. So I heard that it's great because the shelf life is longer for gumballs, and then the profit margins are higher, and then you're having to check those machines less frequently, so it's just a win-win all around.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a long-term goal, but I would say if I could give you like the top three, the first would be Mike and Ike, actually. The second
Uh,
would be Skittles, and the third would be gumballs.
okay. So yeah, I never tried the Mike and Ike's, and the reason is when I'm watching the other vending channels like Parker and a couple other guys, I noticed that they had a lot of issues with the Mike and Ike's during the summer months and even in the colder months because they still get real sticky, right? So have you had any issues with the Mike and Ike's getting clogging up the machines?
Actually, I haven't had any issues with Mike and Ike sticking or like melting. The only issues I've had with Mike and Ike is if like they are near a window or near any type of strong lighting, their color will start to fade. Even
Oh,
I had a machine in a warehouse, and just the lighting from the actual warehouse was starting to make the candy color fade, and then your candy just looks old and the presentation's
how?
horrible.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy. I would have never thought about that. So yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. That's good to
yeah.
know. So what has been like your biggest struggle getting started?
Oh man, I would say time and helping hands. So I don't know if you guys know, I'm a single mom. I have a 15-month-old, and she's at this stage now where she's walking everywhere. She's into everything. She has a lot of energy. And so for
Oh
me,
yeah.
trying to run the business productively and at the same time, still be a mom, super difficult. So
I know
yeah.
the feeling. I know the feeling. I got kids too, and I'm not single, but my wife works too, so she works a full-time job. She's a nurse, so like 3 to 4 days a week, I'm kind of like Mr. Mom and Dad, So I totally get it, and I'm just like I have so much going on. I have to work, and then I have the YouTube to stay up with, and I have the vending side hustle, and I have a couple other like online things. It's like, man, this is crazy. How do you stay motivated when you come into like being stressed out like that?
It's crazy. It's a catch-22, but it's my daughter, Like as crazy as she drives me, I feel like it's just her keeping me on my toes, and keeping me pressured, keeping the foot on my neck to continue to just aspire for more, and at the same time I'm a very ambitious person, so like I can get really bored if I don't have a goal to obtain or something to chase. I grew up playing sports, basketball to college, and so I always
That
have this this knack
competitive
for
spirit.
competition. There you go. And so
Okay.
I'm actually learning how to channel that same energy into this new experience of my life, which is like business and motherhood. So yeah, I would say her and my competitive nature.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. So where do you see yourself in 1 year? Speaking of goals, you're talking about goals. So like what is your 1 month goal, like 6 month goal, and like your 1 year goal?
Man, so like before all this pandemic stuff hit, like I said, we started in October 2019, and my goal was to have 20 bulk locations by October 2020. And when all this hit, it kind of halted all that. So I guess I would say that's still my 1 year goal is to obtain the 20 bulk locations. Like I said, we're at 14 now. Um, and then
You
as well as I want to be able to net $1,000 a month, and that's with full line, of course. So those are two of my like high priority goals.
I think you're well on your way. 14 bulk machines, right? You only six more locations to go, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping, I'm still getting out there as much as I can to places that are a little more mom and pop, I guess you can say, and that are a little more, I wouldn't say like lenient of our times, but I guess more reachable. I guess you
And
could
more
say.
more willing to help. I think smaller mom and pop shops are willing to help another, small business get started, and if they can help out, I think they like to do that. So do you get all your locations by just kind of walking in and cold calling, or do you have a method for that?
So the majority of our locations we actually bought on route, and then the other half of them we actually just walked in. I absolutely hate driving around town. Drive to one location, no, get in your car, start the car again. It just stresses me out. So I like to find places where there's maybe like a strip mall or something, multiple locations in an area, or like a downtown area. Park the car and then just walk, And
Yeah.
I've found the most success that way. So the locations that I've gotten on my own, that's been my method.
So like a densely like populated strip mall is like a best place because you could park and you could probably potentially hit 10, 15, 20 different businesses, right?
Absolutely. And then it's just more efficient for you as far as like gas and wear and tear on your car. So, and I just feel like it's more valuable use of my time because when you take into consideration the travel time of going from place to place, I kind of want to spend the most time in front of someone, versus in the car.
Of course. When I hear those no's though, when they tell me no, I swear it just gets me more motivated. I'm like, oh, I'm getting a yes. So like I
Yeah,
won't
I'm going to
stop
show
until
you.
I'm gonna show you I'm gonna get a yes out, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my total mentality. So I try not to get too bummed about it. So you have all your bulk machines out. Is there any kind of things that you've done to kind of ease people's minds when maybe buying something from your machines during all of this stuff that's going on right now?
Yeah, I just lost a location yesterday, like I was saying, and I was pretty bummed. But I asked the guy, I was like, "Can I have your opinion on, what's the reason you wanted to, have the machine removed?" And he's like, "Honestly, I'm nervous about multiple people touching a machine." I'm like, "Okay." So from there, I actually went on Vending Nation, shout out Facebook Vending Nation, and just tried to pick brains from members in the group. And the best suggestions were to go ahead and put up signage and just kind of be transparent. And that way, the establishment that your machine is in feels more comfortable, and then any consumer coming to your machine can feel comfortable as well. So that's pretty much something that I did. I created some signs to put on top of my bulk machines that basically just say this machine is sanitized, and then I'm actually going to add snack baggies to all of my bulk machines, and that way customers or consumers don't have to use their hands touching on the
Yeah,
machine. They
that's a
can
great
allow
idea.
the candies to just fall into the bag. So that's a strategy I came up with. I'm hoping it works, and I'm hoping it allows us to keep our remaining locations during these times.
Yeah, these times are some weird times right now. Weird times. So I like to ask everybody this question before I let them go, and we're getting towards the end of the video. So I like to ask, if money didn't matter, what do you think you would do? Like, what would you be doing?
Money didn't matter. Huh. Curveball question. No, I'm just kidding.
No, well, I just feel like people that I have on the podcast are typically entrepreneurial, like motivated people, and they're driven towards like a main goal. And then a lot of times, money, even, I hate to say, but money is kind of like the reason why we run towards certain things, like starting a side hustle on the YouTube channel. I mean, I've fallen in love with it since I have started, but the initial reason I started was extra money, right? It was a side hustle. And so I often think, like, when I talk to other entrepreneurs and people that are highly driven like yourself, I'm curious, like, let's say like we didn't have a bill, like you didn't have to pay rent, say you didn't have to pay for gas, say you didn't have to buy groceries, like what would you do? Would you just sit on the couch and watch TV, or like what would you do? Like if you didn't have to go earn money, what would you be doing?
I think I'd be coaching. Um,
Coaching.
like I said, as a former athlete myself, there's a lot of pride and identity associated just because I played basketball for so many years. So I think I would be out motivating some athletes to get better, play
That's
basketball.
great. And you're kind of doing that right now with your vending channel, right? I'm sure there's some people that you've been able to motivate, and kind of maybe some people have started vending because of you. Have you had any experience with that?
Yeah, primarily with our Instagram. I'm a noob on YouTube, but I appreciate everyone who's listening to this, watching this, and as well as anyone who's subscribed to me. But pretty much, I would say my strong suit on social media would be Instagram. So I get a lot of DMs and a lot of people that say they're inspired. So that's awesome too
It's awesome. I
Yeah, it's
have a
awesome.
few too, and I really like. Kind of gives me goosebumps. I like it. I really do. It's like, man, if you can impact it. See, I'm a musician. I've been an artist my whole life, and I've traveled the country playing music. And when it break it down, I think the main thing is just to reach somebody, whether it's however it is, just to like, I don't know, just to make a connection with the person. I think is cool, and that's kind of what keeps me driven, I think.
Absolutely. And when we were binge watching before we started vending, you were actually one of the channels we binge watched. So thanks so much.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. I wish my channel was a little more like educational, I guess, but I noticed that a lot of channels when I had started were just kind of pulling money out of machines, and I was like, I'm gonna show like it can't be that easy, right? So my channel was more of like, this is like, I guess you can get to that point, but it's gonna take some work because, like you said, you had researched passive income ideas, and I got into vending. I'm like, this is not passive. Like this is kind of a lot of work, But once you get it set up, it's pretty passive. But
It takes some
so
time to get to that point for sure. And
it
that's why I
definitely
appreciated watching your channel, dude, because you definitely showed the back end, like hauling bulk machines out the back of your truck and
just getting it
listening,
done, right?
getting it done, sharing your pitches, your live pitches at locations. So honestly, like your channel really gave you a hands-on approach to what it takes to have a successful vending business. So
Oh, cool.
big
Thank
ups
you.
to you, dude. Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad I could do that. I'm glad I could do that for you guys. So, hey, really though, I know I said it earlier, I do appreciate you taking the time. I know you're very busy. I know everybody's so busy, and I know that even sitting down for a half an hour to talk with somebody is kind of, you still have to block out a piece of time. And I appreciate you doing that for me tonight. So anyone else that's watching, make sure you go over and see Rezo Vending. I'll leave a link in the description. It'll be the top comment. I know the comment section is different now, so make sure you click the comments to open it up, and you can see a link to her channel. It'll be in the description as well. And is there anything else you want to say for any maybe beginners out there, or anything you'd like to leave them with?
If anybody's on Timo's channel, you're most likely interested in vending or maybe painting. But if you're interested in vending, I guess my best advice would be to just stay positive and believe in yourself. Social media will give you all types of viewpoints of what's going on for others, but that's not you. Those are not your shoes. So be proud in your own shoes. And if you're ready to start this journey, just start, dude. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't think about yesterday. Just start where you are with what you have today. And honestly, everything's going to roll. Everything it'll happen for you.
Awesome. What a great message. And I try to do this every day, a word of the day. Do you have a word of the day you want to have people put in the comment section if they made it this far in the video?
Motivated. Drop
Motivated.
motivated. If you made it this far in the video and if you feel some sense of inspiration from this, drop motivated, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much, Kwani. I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.